Worst nostalgia trip ever taken. Worst nostalgia trip ever taken.
Hi. Welcome. I know what you're thinking. It's a Sunday. Why am I watching this video? Well, that's because Happy Father's Day. Hope all the fathers out there are having a great day. Hope you're enjoying your time with your families and loving on your kids. Speaking of Father's Day, I'm Jared. I'm Jokey Pants. I'm joined by Cerebral Paul as always. Mostly.
And I'm not a father to my knowledge, but if there's anybody out there, hey.
I am not a father. I've been a stepfather, and I was almost a dad once. Speaking of Father's Day, in honor of Father's Day, obviously I have a father. I think most of us out there have one. My father is the one. This is honestly an honor to him, because I would not be into any of the music or any of the movies, anything that I'm into, even comic-wise, if it hadn't have been for my dad. So this is to you, Dad. Fiend Gots, love ya. If you're wondering, who's Fiend Gots? Who's this man? Go look him up on Amazon and go buy some of his books. And then pee yourself when you're scared. And then let him know, because he finds that enjoyable, because he's a sick old man.
Oh, good. Yeah. I'm going to be writing him a letter after spending time with you. I'll tell you that right now.
I mean,
like, Fiend Gots, what the hell were you thinking? I don't know.
Like, my co-host and my best friend over on Oddcast, Anthony, he bought my dad's novella and immediately wrote me to say, this is some of the most disturbing things I've ever read, and my father took that as a compliment. So that's the kind of man we're talking about.
Yeah. Man after my own heart. I think I've told you my goal on any podcast or anything I do is to go, did he really just say that? Really? That's always my goal.
Much like my father. So yeah, today we're talking about a 2002 movie, which I didn't realize this came out in 2002. There's something in my brain told me it was older than that.
Same here, actually. Same here.
Yeah, right? So my father, he has a wide range of the horror things that he enjoys. For reference for today's episode, he is a huge fan of Phantasm and Bruce Campbell, which only makes sense for today's movie. 2002, Bubba Ho-Tep, which is one of his favorite movies. Why it's one of his favorites, I still have yet to understand. I'm sorry, Dad, I love you. But watching this movie, I have to question why it's your favorite, other than it has Bruce Campbell and the director's the same of Phantasm. Yeah. Past that, Dad, I don't get it.
And Ozzie Davis, okay, for those of us who are an appreciation for Ozzie Davis as well.
There is Ozzie Davis as well, yeah. I didn't realize who Ozzie Davis, like, where he was from. For people in my age group, not Paul's.
No.
Think about him for a minute.
I'm probably much closer to your father's age group, actually.
Honestly, yeah. If you're in your 20s, you're a millennial, whatever, around my age, you might know Ozzie Davis, which I wasn't aware until I looked up his name, because I've definitely heard his voice before. For us, you would know him at home. He plays Yar, the elder lemur in the movie Dinosaurs. So that's for, like, the young millennial kids. Like, I didn't realize he voiced that character until it popped up, and I went, of all the fucking movies, that's the one he's gonna... What? Like... but he has been all over the place, so, like, it's got your star-studded cast of, like, people that have done a lot of things and have made a name for themselves doing such.
I wouldn't call it star-studded outside of him and.
Hey, that's star-studded enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, happy Father's Day.
That's like dancing with the stars, and you got to put the air quotes on stars because they're like B, C level, quality.
Well, so yeah, our director is Don Casarelli, who again, Phantasm movies. That's really, if you look him up, that's like his main go-tos. He's done every Phantasm, so it's like other than Bubba Ho-Tep, that's like all he's done. Which is insane.
He knows what he likes. He knows what he likes. It's just...
This is true. And as we've mentioned, Bruce Campbell, who is, let's see here, Sebastian Hoff, but we don't really call him that. He's just gonna go by Elvis. And Ozzie Davis, who's Jack, who again, he's JFK, which.
Yep.
Boy, what a premise.
Hey, he had his skin dyed. I totally bought it.
So yeah, we also wanted to mention Bob Ivy plays the part of Bubba Ho-Tep, and that's because he was in he was in Phantasm, so it's like easy to pull people that you've used before to just like, hey, I'm making this other movie.
And we're gonna bury you in a shitload of makeup, and nobody's gonna recognize you anyway. So.
You're not gonna be recognizable. So let's get into it. So firstly, as I said, Happy Father's Day. Never mind. Got ahead of myself in my notes.
He had to put that in his notes so he remembered why we're here. Okay, there we go.
I just out of my notes. It's like, maybe we'll say this, and then I did it anyway. So this movie, it opens with a dictionary definitions as before the title. Ho-Tep, a relative or descendant of the 17th century Egyptian dynasty. 3100 to 1550 BC. Or the surname of a pharaoh. Bubba. Male from the southern U.S. A good old boy. A cracker. A redneck. Trailer park resident. Cut to title. Bubba Ho-Tep. Yeah, I did enjoy that. It's the minute I saw good old boy, I just started laughing.
Yeah.
So after we get the title, and then we get a like black and white documentary footage that they're opening up a new tomb, a sarcophagus, if you will, and pulling out a new mummy. It's just like typical black and white whatnot.
For those of us who paid attention during this part, by the way, that was Tutankhamun's sarcophagus that they kept showing. Yeah. From there, we pan down into Mud Creek, Texas, into a retirement home, and this is where we begin to meet our lovely main character. We get Sebastian Hoff, or AKA Elvis, who's asleep in bed, but he's monologuing about his dreams about, well, he used to be a rock star and he could get it all the time, but due to an unfortunate accident, he can't get it up anymore, and he feels like less of a man. It's just like how we're starting this movie, folks. That's right. You're learning early on this is that he could use Viagra right about now, but yeah.
Yeah, he could use something.
Yeah.
Hey, Blue Chew, where are you at? We could use some sponsorship from Bubba Ho-Tep.
And the way they highlighted that he couldn't do anything, they had this really hot chick bent over getting stuff out of his dead roommate's dresser and shit like that.
So he has a roommate who's not doing well, and he dies. Just like right off the bat, dude just croaks.
Welcome to the movie.
Really set it. Like, you're in a retirement home. This is just every day. Which we get hearse drivers who are, every time they're on screen, they're just not good at their jobs. But this is where my good friend Paul was bringing up. The daughter of such roommate shows up, and she's like packing things up. She finds like a purple heart and like some old photos, and she's gonna throw it out, and Bubba's like, well, I mean, you don't have to throw it out. I mean, he was my friend and all. Meanwhile, they're just like, is he really about to just take a purple heart? Because it's just like, it's gonna get thrown out anyway. Like,
well, shit. And the view we got was I think they were trying to make a point of this person didn't care about her relative. Old man dead, who cares? Purple heart, wounded in service, who cares? I don't want any of this crap. I'm here because I have to be. Was her basic attitude.
Yes. And
he actually made a point where, when was the last time you were here? Oh, when I dropped him off. What the hell?
You don't understand. I'm busy, blah blah. And it's like, man, this is really hitting.
So they were using it. They were using this goofy movie to make a very big point. Actually, I think,
that's a good point. But yeah, and as Paul pointed out, she bends over to dig out of the trash stuff, and Bubba gets a look at everything, and he talks about how she sees him as just a frail old man, so she's not worried about anything anyway. And not that it matters, because he can't get it up now anymore anyway. So, Jesus Christ. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, sorry, my notes are... I forgot I had a thing here. So he gets all the stuff from her. She also asks about who he is. And then, because the nurse comes in and she's talking about, like, hey, how you feeling today, blah, blah, blah. And then the like, daughter there, whatever, starts asking about him. And he brings up that he's Elvis. And you better remember that and call him Elvis. And then we get like we get a little bit of a backstory here of, he was on stage doing stuff when his hip gave out and he fell, and then he was in a coma for quite a long time. So he believes he is Elvis. It's just, we'll learn more later, but for now it's just he had an accident and he believes he's Elvis. You gotta call him Elvis. There is the only thing I forgot to mention in this. I realize I skipped over it. There is a whole moment of Elvis's backstory where they talk about that his explanation is that the real Elvis came into his town looking for an impersonator, swapped lives with him, but that his part of the contract about switching lives back at any time was lost in a tragic trailer fire. Or, sorry, no. A tragic barbecue accident. Which, I have to say, the tragic barbecue accident was he was just having a barbecue and his trailer blew up. Like, it had nothing to do with the barbecue.
I did like the fact that they explained that, after Elvis, quote, died in 1977, that he couldn't do nothing else. That's why he was Elvis, and he went back as an impersonator, and that's where the other name that they used throughout the movie came from. That's when he invented, whatever the guy's name was. You have it there.
Sebastian Hoff.
Sebastian. That's when, and he was doing the impersonation thing when he fell off the stage and busted his hip. So they really went a long way around to get to this whole thing. I mean,
they really did. So then we're kind of getting more of a layout of the retirement home. We're seeing a couple more of the people. There's an elderly lady they show who visits her friend in an iron lung. And then she immediately turns around and steals cookies. Like, just like, oh, you're not going to eat them. And she takes them for herself. And I'm like, oh, you greedy bitch. So you're getting more of a layout there. The old lady steals the cookies. She goes back that night. She starts eating them. She's enjoying them. She's like, I stole a good batch. And I'm like, you're still not a good person. Like, it's just, I hope you were good. She has a bug that shows up, and she thinks it's a cockroach. And I'm sorry, a cockroach. As she reaches her hand down and, I'm going to squish you little cockroach.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way. She gets attacked immediately. She just immediately gets bit and freaks out. Falls off the bed. Starts fighting the thing. And then we see it's actually a very large, like, scarab with a Evil Dead style practical little head that pops out. Jesus Christ. And then we get a look at, we finally are introduced to Bubba Ho-Tep himself, who appears, and the costume choices for this character. Now, I'm going to assume, and go out on a limb, I'm going to assume that the mummy can only get clothes from the retirement home?
I would think so, yeah. I think that was the whole premise. Because even when later in the movie they will explain why he's doing it at the retirement home, and you're still like, really, this is the best he could do? You know, mummy back from the dead, you know, undead living creature, and okay, sure.
Allow me, for you at home, you'll end up seeing on screen here, but he has a pimp hat, jeans, and some cowboy boots, and it is the strangest design. One of the strangest
I
designs
mean, I don't know if it was that. I think it was supposed to be a cowboy hat of some sort, because there's a whole thing later on.
I know it's supposed to be, but to me it just reads as a pimp hat, because it's got the feather, it's got some color going on. It's like... So as he eats the old lady's soul, she's dead. But while that's happening, Bubba's sleeping, and then he gets flashes of what's going on, and then she's in his doorway getting dragged away. He rolls over, but then he's just like, whatever, crazy dream. Goes back to sleep, thinks nothing of it. Unfortunately for him. And then we get another body. We get more of the coroners that come in, and they're just really bad at their job, and they make
one of the coroners is actually a known character actor.
I thought he looked familiar. What?
I can't think of his name right now, and if I tried to look him up on my computer, I would have issues.
I forgot to look him up.
But yeah, I seem to recall he'd been on stuff like Matlock and, you know, that era of, you know.
My dad's probably my dad's gonna end up losing it, being like, how did you not write that down? It's like, I'm sorry, Dad. I wrote for a lot of things, and there's just a lot of stuff.
Yep.
And,
he's a failure as a son, Dad. He
already knew that. That's not news. But no, Paul is correct. One of the coroners is like an actor that you've seen everywhere,
especially back in those days, in the 80s, 90s. Yeah.
Oh God, where is he? Of course, he doesn't pop up in the cast. Oh wait, there it is.
But yeah,
Daniel Roebuck.
Yeah.
Daniel Roebuck. Yeah, which is somebody I've seen him a little bit everywhere. Like, he's been in a ton of movies.
Yep.
That's the kind of person that I see them in a small role like that, and I'm just like, what is he doing in this movie? It's like, I've seen him in way more. What is he doing here?
Because at the end of his career, when you look at his IMDb, it's going to have like 350 appearances, and some of them are going to be these little. He's what they call a face in the crowd. You know?
That's probably fair.
But yeah, they drop bodies and say things they really shouldn't be saying. I mean, it's every time they're on screen, it's great.
Very, very much so. Yeah, so at this point, Bubba is just kind of, he's trying to just live his life, but also he hates that he can't get it up. That's a big point to this
Well,
movie.
you said Bubba, you meant Elvis. You said Bubba, but you meant Elvis.
Elvis. Yeah, Elvis. Yeah, Elvis can't get it up, and he hates it. That's the big thing going on with this whole movie. But while that's happening, like we end up cutting into the night, and much like the old lady before, he's enjoying cookies and whatnot. Because I assume they handed these out because they're all in like containers that everybody has.
Right. Yeah.
But he's enjoying his cookies and he's enjoying his night, and then he has to pee. So you gotta get up and go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
But then he gets attacked. We get the scarab comes back. But this one, he turns on his heater and then goes to the bathroom. Comes back to his bed, and his cookie tin has been like knocked over. Something's clearly eating all his stuff. And we get this, as I have put, a classic Bruce Campbell fighting prop monster. As the scarab starts flying all around the room, and we get him just like trying to hit this thing and like having like an Evil Dead style fight, which I appreciated. I was like, all right, I can get behind that. I enjoy you, Bruce. So he ends up getting knocked down. He grabs a giant fork, stabs the scarab, throws it into the heater with a one-liner.
You forgot a part where he did trap it in the bedpan on the wall.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He traps it in the bedpan, and we get the whole trying to figure out where it is, then flips it around.
Yeah.
But yeah, he fries it. I remember right. I forgot to write it down. I should have wrote down the line, but I'm pretty sure it's just like, "Don't mess with the king," which is just just Bruce Campbell being Bruce Campbell. Really, even though playing Elvis, it's just Bruce Campbell being Bruce Campbell.
Yeah. By the way, little side note to that I don't know if you read any of the notes off of IMDb.
I did not.
Apparently, when they were recording some of the stuff with him in the bed, there was so much equipment and cameras and stuff around him. At one point, he had to go to the bathroom. He actually used that bedpan to go to the bathroom because he couldn't get out of the bed.
Of course he did. So after he kills the scarab, he makes his way down. He goes to Jack's room. Before he even goes to Jack's room, I have to say this note here. He pokes his head out of the room and just goes, Hey, got a serious bug problem here. Can't find anybody, so he takes off. He ends up down at Jack's room, which we see that Jack's room, who I forgot to mention, we meet him very, very briefly a little bit right before the scarab attacks Elvis there. They have like a neat little chat. You kind of meet him, but you don't know anything about him till now. Which this is where it's important, because when he walks in, his entire room is just JFK assassination conspiracy. Like, every single bit of the JFK assassination is this man's room, from a full-on diorama of the shooting to, like mug shots and just newspaper clippings. It is so over the top. But Jack's on the floor, so Elvis obviously a little worried with what had just happened to him, but something happened to his friend Jack. Jack just has issues. But the doctor comes in and he tells the doctor about, like, hey, you got a bug problem. And they're like, well, what kind of bug? And he tells them it's a really big bug, like the size of my head bugs. So, yeah, they kind of write that off, but they talk about, they're like, yeah, we'll get an exterminator to look at that. Jesus Christ, which I don't think I'd go back to my room after after the events that I just had. I don't think I want to have anything to do with that.
I don't know. They're in
Just saying.
Texas. They have big cockroaches in Texas. I lived there for a while. They.
Yeah, so the next day we get the nurse who has a new cream. And it's a steroid cream that has to go in a very special place. Right where the sun don't shine and not where you think.
Yeah.
But while she's doing his groin medicine, Elvis finally gets one. And he feels pretty good about himself. He didn't think he could get it up anymore, but something about the nurse and that steroid gel, I got him there, and he feels real
Well, no.
good.
No, he explained it. Because all the stuff with the bug and the deaths and all the stuff was making him feel like he had a purpose again. That he wasn't just there to die.
Sure.
Well, but that's why he couldn't do it before, because they make a point earlier. They make a point earlier in the movie that they call it a retirement home, but really people go there to die. There is no,
From here we go over. They're all having lunch, and meet another character who's another old man in this retirement home who's also confused of who he is, because he's Kimosabe, which for those of you younger, you have no idea who Kimosabe is. That
they couldn't use the phrase the Lone Ranger. Yeah, they couldn't.
Yeah,
they probably couldn't use it.
They do show you the black and white footage briefly of who the Lone Ranger is. I grew up around grandparents who were very adamant about watching westerns. So I know who Lone Ranger is from like literally watching it with them. So like Kimosabe made me laugh of like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's talking about how everyone here is just like they're all right people, but like it's not a good place to be. It's not like a happy place to be. Most people have no idea where they are. And that night, Elvis, he ends up having nightmares about the bug and his dead daughter and just all the stuff going on and things that he has going on. Clearly something has him all stirred up, and he hasn't quite pieced together what's going on yet. But then we also get a jump scare from Jack, who wakes him up about the mummy thing because he thinks it's an assassination attempt. Because everything's an assassination attempt. Because JFK's brain is in his head, and they want it back. Yeah. This
and apparently, and it gets because apparently the books that Jack has in his room have information on the whole mummy aspect of things in the which why I don't know.
I think it's honestly just anything that happens around the area. Jack just immediately takes it as that it's a bigger conspiracy to kill him. So
the fact that he had a book the fact that he had a book based on the Imhotep and all that, the old mummies and stuff. It's like really
gotta insert a.
I love the way but they found a way to give you the exposition and the explanation without It's like, okay, sure.
So yeah, Jack, he drags Elvis out of bed. They're gonna go investigate. They're gonna figure out what's going on with this mummy, because it's gotta be a reason to kill him and take his brain again. Heaven forbid the government leaves him alone. So they end up in a bathroom stall, and Jack shows him this engraving of hieroglyphs on the bathroom stall. God damn it.
They actually explain that in a fun way, though. Well, when you're sitting here taking a shit, what else are you going to do? So
I mean, but yeah, Jack questions him on it. It's like, is this hieroglyphs? Is this Egyptian? And Jack's like, right on the money. And Yeah, so they talk about that it's essentially like a curse thing, and that it's just like we have to figure out what it is that the mummy needs, what it wants. Like this has to have something to do with what's going on. Elvis isn't really convinced. He thinks that somebody just went crazy and just scribbled some random shit on a bathroom stall. He's like, yeah, I mean, it's hieroglyphs, but like, yeah, whatever. Meanwhile, Jack's wholeheartedly like, this is a conspiracy. We need to solve it. We need to figure it out. Yeah, goddamn. The Jack also explains about how mummies steal things, and that they have to steal a hole. They have to steal your soul through a hole, but it doesn't specify which hole, and that's a whole thing that your soul's gonna get sucked through your butthole. It's fucking goddamn it. Then we cut outside. The nurse is out for a smoke. She sees some lights and whatnot going on in the shed. She gets distracted. She starts going towards it, and you think that she's going to be next. But then she gets pulled away by the doctor, who's talking about, hey, there's things we need you to go check on. But it doesn't really matter, because the mummy finishes off its meal. Which, did you catch who it was that he was feeding on?
No, I didn't.
Me neither. I couldn't tell if it was somebody that we'd seen or if it was just a random. Anyway. Yeah,
but basically, they've been saying that people have been dying there a lot anyway. So I mean, another dead body wasn't going to really raise any, attention.
Correct. And this is where Jack shows Elvis his books on the undead and spirits. And it's like, this is how I know about the hieroglyphs, because this is just, it's a mummy, because blah, blah, blah. And like,
yeah,
Paul's correct. He just has, for whatever reason, a bunch of information that I don't think would ever hold any relevance in his JFK assassination stuff. He just took a real interest in like ancient spirits, mummies, and the like. Yeah. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Unless it's to explain that like he was looking into it because they transferred his brain.
Yeah, something. Who knows? I don't remember. I could have swore he said they dyed his skin. That's why he was now darker.
So fucking. They start devising out a plan of how they might handle the mummy. Like, how would we go about it? How do they get sent back? And they're talking through all the ways, like, there's like burning the body, or if we can find like its resting place, you might be able to just put it back to sleep. They're like going through all the ways.
Right.
Kimosabe, meanwhile, they cut over. Kimosabe is getting nabbed by the mummy, or at least you think that's what's happening. And cut back to Jack and Elvis, and they're talking about the soul stuff again. And again, just ultimately trying to figure out how they could get rid of this mummy. Elvis hears some stuff in the hallway, and he pokes his head out. And we get the full-on introduction to Bubba Ho-Tep. It's not just a quick little scene this time. Now he's walking down the hallway, all the lights are busting out. Nobody notices this. Nobody notices anything going on in this retirement home, which I guess you just don't care because they're old people, but like,
right.
All the lights busting out, like nobody went to check on anything. But anyway, while this is happening, Elvis gets a bunch of flashes of his backstory, what happened to him in ancient Egypt, how he had essentially how he ended up where he is. Was it ends with that a bus is driving and it falls off a bridge, and it's like basically mummy was being stolen and got tossed into a river when it crashed. So yeah, Elvis has a psychic link and learns about the mummy being jumped. Kimosabe walks into the hallway and starts firing off his cap guns and then has a heart attack. Jesus.
Yep.
Oh, and the coroners come back the next day. Before they do, though, Elvis ends up taking the mask from Kemosabe as like a memento, basically, of like, this guy was a good guy. He didn't deserve that. But we get the moronic coroners again in the next day, and they just straight up drop the body. Like, just drop the fucking body. Then we cut to Elvis and Jack. But Elvis knows that Jack is lying. Basically, like, that he knows more about what's going on than what he's been saying. Like, he has to know, blah blah blah. So they have a little bit of a tiff over what's going on. And while Elvis is just trying to vent, he's trying to take in some cold air, the nurse comes back out and she tells him it's time for nap time. And Elvis loses his cool and tells her to stop patronizing him. He's not a little kid. He can do what he damn well please. Which gets her to just go away. So he's free for the moment. Which he immediately takes to start investigating. He looks at the back door where Bubba Ho-Tep vanished. And he's like, well, the door never opened. How did he just disappear like that? And then he remembers the flashes of the river. So he goes down to the river and he starts investigating. He finds the bridge and he's looking over. He's trying to figure out what might have happened, what is it he's supposed to be looking for, and then he finds the bus's license plate in the water, and he's like, okay, so the bus crashed here. That must be essentially like this must be how the mummy got here. Somehow this bus is connected to it. And then he goes back in, and as I put it, we get like a self-pity moment of Sebastian or Elvis going back to his room, doing his steroid cream, and then just kind of watching TV while hating life, basically, because he sees all his old life with an Elvis marathon, and he's just like, this is my life now, huh? Like, I used to be king of the crowd and like king of rock, and now here I am dying with a broken hip. Jack arrives and presents more research of like, hey, I figured out where the mummy came from. It turns out it was in a museum, and it got stolen, by these guys in a bus, and then they crashed it, and it was just never recovered. And he goes, this is why the mummy's here, is because he got woken up out of his sleep, and we're just kind of here. But he has to keep eating souls to stay alive. So much like Paul said, it's just people are going to die here every day, so like he could just do this forever. No one's going to notice.
And because they're old souls, they don't sustain it for very long. So
correct. Jack goes to sleep after they have a whole plan about stopping the mummy or finding sarcophagus. But he talks about like you can banish an evil spirit with fire, so that's an option. Elvis isn't really buying it at first. Like he not really going with the plan. He's just kind of like, no, man. Like, I'm old. I'm broken. I don't care. Like, whatever. So Jack goes back off to bed. He's gonna do his plan. He was hoping he could get Elvis on board. And Elvis is just like, no, man. I'm too old to give a shit. But he has a change of heart as he sits there and thinks about it. You know, he's thinking about, his friends are getting eaten by some kind of monster. That's not very fair. They deserve to be able to live their life. So Elvis ends up changing his mind, calls Jack up, and he's like, all right, let's do it. Let's kill ourselves a mummy. They set off into the night to kill a mummy. Two old guys. Like, two people you don't
amazingly with stuff they swept from the gardener's supply cabinet and whatever to give them exactly what they needed to basically create a flamethrower of sorts and shit like that.
They take a weed pesticide sprayer or even like an insecticide, whichever. They take the little sprayer and they just fill it full of gasoline. Like, they just make it a full-on, like, essential flamethrower. Oh, Jesus Christ. And I have here as a note of Dress to Kill in all of this montage. as they walk down the hallway. Elvis is all dressed up in his getup, and Jack's got his suit on.
In the full gear, the white sparkly stuff that Elvis is famous for, you know.
Oh yes, he's got a full on Elvis getup now.
The cape's going, the whole thing. Yeah, he's gone full king at that point. Yeah.
So yeah, they make their makeshift weapons, get all their stuff going here. Jack heads down to the wood path. They're gonna set a trap. Elvis makes his way around the building, essentially just checking the perimeter, making sure that the mummy's not gonna sneak up behind them. And Jack goes and sits and waits. And Elvis gets in position, and they see Bubba Ho-Tep creeping up, and then he just disappears. Should have seen that coming, not like he did that literally the night before, but alright. Yeah, so he disappears, and then Elvis tries to go off finding him so he can spray him and set him on fire. But then Elvis gets jumped. He starts getting the shit kicked out of him. So Jack rolls up from behind him, and Jack's gonna try to help him, which I don't know how much help Jack's gonna be to you. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you haven't mentioned Jackson and Jackson on electric wheelchair. He's really kind of limited in mobility.
Yeah. So, Mummy disappears again, and Jack is like, I'm gonna lure him out. And he goes riding off. And Elvis is like, I don't think that's safe, but okay. Mm-hmm. Which, of course, is not. The mummy ends up sitting and waiting, setting his own trap. Jack comes rolling by, and the mummy grabs him. Elvis has to act quickly to try to save his friend. Yeah, so at this point, Jack's getting his soul sucked out, and Elvis is trying to get over as quickly as he can to help save him. Which, luckily for him, the electric wheelchair comes rolling by, so he just grabs a ride and then starts pumping up his little gasoline sprayer. Yeah, and then he shows up, sprays him down, sets the mummy on fire. The mummy walks away and burns. Elvis gets down and talks to Jack. And Jack apparently just dies. I guess the mummies started to steal his soul, and that was enough to kill Jack. I was a little confused here of why Jack died. I assume his heart gave out from all what was going on. Could just be
because he's 1,000 years old, too, you know.
Yeah, like, I assume. But Jack dies, and Jack tells him, like, you gotta finish it. And he gives him a chant he's supposed to say to ban the evil spirit.
Yeah. We know how well Klaatu Vrata Nico is going to work out here, so yeah.
Yeah, this is fucking shit. Do you happen to remember exactly what he says? I was laughing so hard I did not write it down.
No,
I'm not gonna lie.
The one I said was from the other show, the other movie, and from The Day the Earth Stood Still, you know, but, you know.
Yeah, Jack wrote down, like, the most random bullshit you could have possibly written.
Oh, that's right. It was. And even then, Elvis is going, what is this shit? Because it was.
Yeah. I think.
Oops, I think about there went the Viking. Yes.
He essentially gave Elvis just like a speech, but it was just like, we all need to stand together, blah blah blah. And like as he reads it, Elvis he's just like, what the hell kind of chant is this, Jack? I don't think this is doing anything. Which of course it doesn't. Of course it did absolutely nothing.
But here comes one of my favorite parts. Elvis is standing toe to toe with Bubba, and he said, "Okay, now you're gonna get the whole thing." And he starts doing the Elvis poses, and you hear his hips snap. And you can tell the Bubba's just looking at him like, what the hell, dude?
Oh, 100%.
I mean, they actually
Wait.
gave Bubba a little bit of personality at that point. Yeah.
Right before that happens, the mummy gets
Yeah.
back up and he speaks to Elvis, but he speaks in hieroglyphs,
Yeah.
which is I have this written down, even though I did get this. Eat the dog dick of Anubis, you asswipe.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
and then he goes up to Elvis. Elvis starts
Yeah.
and tries to lift his leg up. Immediately hear that crack. So yeah, the mummy's really is just like, what are you gonna do?
What is this? Yeah, what are we doing here? Yeah.
But don't worry, Elvis isn't taking it laying down because he immediately sets off the electric wheelchair and he takes Bubba Ho-Tep on a ride. The whole time he's trying to fight and he's spraying him with the gas. He thinks he's gonna do something. They end up going down the riverbank where he was at before. They tumble down real hard. Getting down to the bottom, this is where things turn out not so okay. Elvis breaks a rib that punctures right
I was gonna say,
through.
throw this. I gotta say that the sound while they're rolling down a hill was very on point. A lot of cracking bones and stuff. I mean,
Very much so. They end up at the bottom. Elvis can't move. He's got the broken rib, and God only knows what else is broken. The mummy gets back up and just starts beating the hell out of him. He's like, "All right, we're done with this now. I'm done with this now." Elvis tries to reach for the sprayer. He doesn't. He ends up pulling out the plunger, and gas just kind of spills everywhere. The mummy tries beating him down with a stick just to knock him out, and then he's about to finish him off, and Elvis pulls out his lighter and lights all the gasoline. We get Bubba Ho-Tep up in flames, and Bubba falls in the water. He's dead and gone, and Elvis lets out the sigh of relief that it's all over, and he has a little monologue about all his friends' souls are safe. No one else has to die now. The mummy's gone. He's done his job. He's done a good job. And the movie kind of ends with I have it as the Egyptian gods putting all is well in the sky. Only explanation I have for that little end bit. But yeah, from that point on, he dies. Jack dies. Elvis dies. But hey, they got rid of the mummy, so all is well. And that is Bubba Ho-Tep from 2002, my father's favorite B movie other than Phantasm. He talked about this movie a lot growing up, and since I've known him. So yeah, this one's for you, Dad. I talked about Bubba Ho-Tep just for you.
The only reason I watched it again. I mean, to be fair, when I first watched it, when it first came out, I was not a fan because I guess I didn't get it. I was like, what the hell is this? A whole lot of that. But upon this viewing, and now that I'm older, I can appreciate it more. And I really I watched it, and it's cute for what it is. Is it something that I would point people to? Go, you got to see this? Probably not.
My father does.
I would say unless they're a Bruce Campbell fan.
If you're a Bruce Campbell fan, it could work for you.
Yeah.
But no, it's like we're saying here. It's not the best movie you've ever seen, but if you are a fan of Bruce Campbell, it's a fun little Bruce Campbell being
and just a weird little fun movie. I mean, I wouldn't even classify it as horror. I wouldn't even really, because you don't really see anything. They don't really show anything. It's
just like
it's a little mystery story. It's like, it is definitely that. I did also read because The reason there is no Elvis music in this whole thing, even though the focus is quote Elvis, they said if they would have even used one Elvis song, it would have been like half the budget.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I'm
to
gonna
get
assume.
to get the rights to one Elvis song would be like half the budget. Yeah, so
Yeah, it's like trying to use anything from the Beatles. You're way too much money, so people just don't.
At least there used to be. I think that's changed a bit. You'll notice the Beatles stuff is starting to show up more and more and more. Yeah, but
This is true. Well,
probably because Michael Jackson passed away, so the people, the
yeah,
current rights holders are going, "Fuck it, what the hell," you know?
Yeah, I'm wondering if that has something to do with it there. But no, so that's Bubba Ho-Tep.
Yeah.
It's an okay time. This one's not the worst movie I've watched on the show. I don't think it's the worst I've made him watch on the show so far.
It's definitely not the worst you made me watch on the show. No. Not even close.
If only he knew.
It's okay. Nope. I gave you one that I know is bad. I know you haven't watched it yet, so I'm waiting for that one. Yeah.
With that,
you'll be wishing you were in Salem Slot by the time you're through with that one. I'll tell you.
with that here, that's the end of our Father's Day episode. To all you fathers out there, obviously, hopefully you had a great Father's Day and you stayed out of trouble. Looking at you, Dad. I'm looking right at you. I know what you do. Put the drink down. I know what you're doing. I love you, Dad. If you end up watching it, I love you. To all you dads out there, again, hopefully you had a great time with your families. We'll catch you on the next one. Stay odd, stay happy. And my God, always follow the rules.
Yep, that's right.
Don't bury the dead under the road. Don't bring things back from the dead. Don't mutate animals. Don't prank your friend's serial killer. Just don't be a good people and stop being dumb. Goodbye.